Okay, so we are now live streaming on YouTube.
Hello.
We are now live streaming on YouTube.
Hello.
We are now live streaming on YouTube.
Hello.
All right. Okay, so good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all, and welcome to the side sessions of the third UN South Asia Forum Business and Human Rights. This session will focus on sustainable practices, rights, and safety and construction in Bangladesh, Elite Group Bangladesh. This will be hosted by the Elite Group. And this is one of the several side sessions leading up to the plenary forum happening on March 28 to 30 in Dhaka, Bangladesh. A note that this session is being recorded and that we are live on YouTube. We are glad to have you here. I have two things for us to keep in mind during the session. We would love to see you. So if you are asking any questions or if you're speaking during the session, please do turn on your webcam. The next is you can post questions or comments into the chat at any time, or you can use the raised hand function on Zoom if you would like to talk. So moderating today's session will be Shayan Siraj, of Group Director of Aqua Paints and Elite Steel. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Aja. Hello, everyone. I would like to welcome those of you who have registered for this third UN BHR South Asia Forum, and also thank you for signing up to this session titled Sustainable Practices, Rights and Safety in Construction in Bangladesh, Multi-Stakeholder Perspectives. The objective of this session is to showcase the considerable impact being made by the construction industry in Bangladesh. It plays an important role in the economy and is vital to the achievement of national socioeconomic development goals, including providing shelter, employment, and infrastructure for many productive activities such as services, commerce, utilities, and other industries. It contributed 8%, or over $24 billion, to the annual GDP of $325 billion. It generates employment for close to 3.5 million people, with a large portion of this attributed to the informal sector. Once referred to as a basket case, today Bangladesh is a shining example of consistent economic growth in the developing world. For construction specifically, it is building a 6-kilometer long Podda bridge, which has multiple records, including the deepest piles of any bridge, that is 122 meters or 37-story tall piles that are used for this particular bridge. It is building its own nuclear power plant, a state-of-the-art airport terminal, and what was once observed as straw-thatched huts in the villages now gives way to many multi-story residential complexes, an example being in Rupur, Pabna, where there are more than 20-story towers in the same compound. Bangladesh is doing this all with its own builders, local architects and engineers, domestic construction materials, its own labor pool. However, there is a lot of high-level design and consultancy that comes from countries such as Japan, China, and Russia. Having said that, today we have a stellar cast of speakers who are going to shed some light on this very critical human side of construction, the field workers, the laborers, who give their strength, endurance, and much more to execute all this work. In 2020, there were 118 construction deaths reported in the national newspapers. Could this have been avoided? Has the situation improved? What can be done? In order to share a multi-stakeholder viewpoint, we have representatives from a variety of backgrounds. I will introduce you to them briefly. We have Mr. Shaheen Talukdar. He has over 21 years of experience in the construction industry and is the general manager procurement in one of the largest civil contractors in the country, National Development Engineers. power plants, road bridges, factories, government projects, all shapes and sizes, wherever they're in the country, there's a high probability that was built by NDE. We have Mr. Dewan Yamin. He has worked for close to 35 years at Public Works Department, PWD, which is under the Ministry of Housing, under the government of Bangladesh, and retired as its chief engineer in August 2011. He has progressively moved from being an assistant engineer all the way to the chief engineer and has worked all over the country. He's currently an advisor in Fresh Cement, a large unit within Meghna Group. We have Mizanur Rahman. He is the Health, Safety and Environment Manager in the Terminal 3 project of the airport and is working for ABC Construction. A lot of their international partners include Mitsubishi, Fujitsu, and Samsung. We have Sekandar Ali Mina, who is the Executive Director at Safety and Rights Society. He's been with SRS since 2009. With close to 25 years of experience, he is devoted to improving workplace health and safety conditions in Bangladesh. He completed his MBA from BRAC and is a member of the Dhaka Bar Association. He's completed courses on productive employment and decent work for sustainable development with the Swedish government, and as well as the health and safety management in the construction center with the Italian government. And last, we have Jamilur Rahman, who is the assistant manager responsible for environment, health, safety, and social for Shanta, who has the tallest commercial building under construction in Dhaka, and they're a leader in private residential buildings as well. As for myself, I represent Aqua Paint and Elite Steel. We're construction material providers, and just by nature of the industry we're in, I'm actually moving to a lot of the different sites to sell our product and also look at how construction sites evolve from its inception all the way to its finishing. Now, jumping right in to our first question, since independence in 1971 with the onset of industrialization and urbanization, there has been rapid growth in the construction industry. The development we see in the last 10 years is exponential to what has been seen in the previous 10 years and so forth. So the question I had for the audience, for the panel was, have safety practices grown this over the same period on the same rate? How has safety evolved over site? I'll first ask Shaheen from NDE to share his thoughts.
Thank you, Mr. Shan. Pleasure to meet you all here. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk about the safety in construction industry of Bangladesh. Actually, Bangladesh is facing many fundamental issues in construction industries for many years in measuring, improving its performance. The most common problem is poor safety. This is the main issue talk today's session. Actually, from the post-independence of Bangladesh, there are various type of construction standard maintaining, like presently public owned construction are trying to do by cost effective way, like they are using poor scaffolding materials. Rather, we have some international standard construction right now in Bangladesh, like Hazrat Shahjalan International Airport, Paira Power Plant, and for the multipurpose bridge, where maintain international standard safety code of conduct. If I give you some example, in public construction, public-owned construction project, presently using the scaffolding is by bamboo and wood making scaffolding, which is very risky. Rather, we have some international standard construction project where we have been making the scaffolding is MS5 or other safety tools, equipments are using in this project, which are uh, basically which are more safe in construction work. So, public owned public owned construction project laborer presently using lungi, rather international standard construction project laborers wearing pant, t-shirt for comfortably work in the workplace. So uh, we are using now various tools and equipments like safety gloves, safety helmet, goggles, air plug, uh, etc. So our construction industries day by day improving to adopt international standard safety measures, which can reduce the accident in workplace.
No, thank you very much, Shaheen. I know you're just mentioning scaffolding. What was once common is to see bamboo scaffolding, but now it's changing, it's evolving, and we're using rod-based scaffolding. Uh, Diwan, I know you had some interesting thoughts on this as well. You've been in the government sector, you've been working in the government sector for more than 30 years. Would you like to share something?
Yes, thank you. Thank you for asking me to share my experience. Well, since independence, our construction industry has progressed much. When we started working in the government sector in the year 1977, the government buildings were mostly 3 to 4 storied, and safety factors were not a good big measure at that time. But now in government sector also we are building 20-storied buildings of uh, residential and office buildings. You just mentioned Rupur, Rupur project. In Rupur, we are Public Works Department are constructing 20-storied residential buildings. In Dhaka also, we have constructed in Ajimpur and Motijil 20-storied government officers residential building. And during this time from 77 to 2022, the safety measures have also increased in a better way. I will say in Bangladesh now we'll separate the projects like mega projects, big projects, and other projects. In mega projects, the foreign consultants and foreign contractors are working with uh, Bangladeshi contractors and Bangladeshi engineers, and they are using almost 100% safety measures for workers and materials, I would say. All types of security measures are there for safety. In big projects also, big contractors like ND is here, like others, Mir Akhtar Hussain, Civil Engineers Limited, Abdul Monem Limited, they are also maintaining somewhat their standards by safety, ensuring safety. But the other projects, smaller projects, the contractors are not maintaining so much safety measures for their employees. They are not so much friendly with their or conscious about their well-being of their laborers. So it is that sector that has to be looked, and the safety measures should be increased in those sectors. Also, one problem I have noticed that the weather condition of our country, this is mostly we have construction period, dry period from March to say July, August, and at that time there is so much humid and warm that the workers do not feel at ease using the helmets and their gum boots and other safety measures. That is why we think we should be motivating the workers also to use these safety measures. But as a whole, in Bangladesh, in Dhaka especially, the safety measures for workers have increased a lot since independence till today. But the picture outside Dhaka is different because most projects are, say, government or private projects, all are very small nature of, and there the safety measures are almost neglected. And I think today's seminar should come up with something that we can assure that all the projects will have similar safety measures for laborers and the site condition. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Diwan. I know the couple of points I picked up there was that depending on the priority level of the project, whether if it's a mega project, then with all the international consultants working on it, you can say that there's a very high compliance, probably close to 100%. Whereas for a lot of the smaller projects, it's a bit difficult to enforce. And then there's a environment factor as well. In this hot climate and condition, as much as we would like them to put on some protective equipment, sometimes the workers are not used to it, but it's a constant amount of motivation that needs to take place. I'd like to just ask Mizan from ABC Construction. I know you're working on the Terminal 3 project. You're working with 3 very big international leaders in construction. What has been your experience on site? If you could share us something.
Thank you.
Sorry, can you hear us? Yes, we can hear you. Please.
Yes. Thank you very much, Mr. Sayan. I would like to thank at first to ABC, my company, who give me the nice chance to give some speech in this nice organization with you guys. So, in the project, as a project manager, we are following global standard safety measurement in this site. Before, one of my sir, he explained that in this hot situation, what is the safety measure we take in the airport side. As per safety regulation, in the hot season, we arranging there also ventilation fan, the ORS, that is or saline, and cold water, everything we arranging in this hot situation. In airport terminal 3, we actually, this is a, the Samsung, the global standard company, he is working in the terminal 3 project. So we are also from ABC, we also following all of these safety measures in the terminal project. Like this, as if I want to give you some example. Hello, the sound is clear or not?
Yes,
yes, it's perfect.
Okay,
it's perfect. Okay. Please continue.
Okay. So in the first time when we enter the worker, we collect all of his data, like his medical report, his blood group, he is fit for work or not, everything, all medical data we collect, and we will, and audit will check everything we collecting or not. After that, we give them a train for the specific work, like the river binding work, what kinds of work at height, what how to work at the confined space, everything. So we give them a training. After that, we arrange a TBT, that is for different work. Like when he want to work as a confined space, we gather all of these workers and assign a safety supervisor, assign a engineer, and assign the competent worker who already trained up before. And we explain them the JSS, that is job safety analysis, how to work. If any incident happen in this confined space, how we will rescue him. So the emergency team always involved in this area. So all kinds of measure we taking in the Air Force side. We also before in my experience before, when 15 years before, in our country, I think in our construction site, they don't know what is the health, safety, and environment. And my opinion, my observation, when I was in outside, I have done such types of jobs. So I thought, once I will back, what I will do, because I did not see such type activities in this Bangladesh also. But luckily, once I back Bangladesh, I see there is tremendous chance. Our then I see now our Bangladesh all companies trying to comply all of safety measures. As an example, then ABC in our work site, as per OSHA regulation, they are maintaining every 50 workers for a safety officer, every 15 workers for a toilet, and every 400 meter square 4 workers in accommodation. So that is very good. That is very excellent practice in this in now Bangladesh. So I like to again thanks to ABC give me such type a scope to speak here. Thank you all.
Thank you very much, Izan. You know, I think it's superb, some of the measures you guys have taken on HSC, and I can only imagine that once this site is completed, all those who have been experienced working with this level of compliance, they will take it on to the other sites that they work on in the future. I think we'll switch gears a little bit, and I wanted to bring in Sekandar from Safety and Rights Society. I know that he has worked with UNDP recently on a study. He's actually conducted a lot of field research, field data. He's actually taken a lot of data, not just from Dhaka, but from all the different geographic regions of the country. And I just want to kind of get his perspective on how he's, you know, we're hearing about all this compliance, but what is he seeing actually taking place in the field, maybe by not such larger players, but what are smaller players doing? And also how has government compliance kind of evolved to support both the business and the laborer? Sekandar, please.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much, Shayan, and everybody here who has joined today's this session. You know, it's really a very very broad question, but I'll try to make it short through my answer, because there's a when we are talking about safety compliance, it means the whether all the parties involved in this construction sector or construction industries, whether they have their own intention to maintain the health safety measures in the site. That's very good, the very important question for that. And we have found that the large industries and the developer companies or real estate, they try to follow the safety measures. They try to comply with the law and other policies, rules, regulations. But think about the individual owner or employer, where they don't follow any, basically they don't have the capacity to follow the rules, regulations, or the guideline like BNBC, Bangladesh National Building Code, that that's the building code first enacted in 2006. Beforehand, there was no such comprehensive code that covers all the issues related to building construction. But after 2006, there are some changes happened, especially for the big developer companies or big who are big in size, they try to follow, and the accident rate is less in that construction sites. But most of the case happened where the employers are actually individual or a small entrepreneur. This is on site. The other is we have found through research that government actually even what I will say, that's even now we cannot say that yes, government law enforcing authority have the capacity to monitor all the construction sites going working at this moment. But government has some sort of initiative. They have formed a group in the DIFE, Department of Inspection for Factories and Establishment, to ensure safety in the construction sites. But we don't have any building code enforcement agency that the BNBC stated or BNBC required. We didn't, the government yet to form a code enforcement agency. So it is, that at this moment, the responsibility goes to the development authority like Raju, KDA, Khulna Development Authority, or Russia Development Authority. Actually, the development authority is responsible at this moment. But we need, if we wish to minimize the accident, that's every year more than hundreds reported. That is, that's it is underreported. We say that it is very underreported. But even though more than 100 workers are dying every year, if we want to reduce that, we have to have the code enforcement authority, and the DIFE, Department of Inspection for Factories, should be strengthened. Their capacity, their manpower should be enhanced, increased. Then it will be easy for the law enforcement authority to monitor, because monitoring system, I will say the monitoring system is very weak. Because this law enforcement authority, they don't have the capacity. Even the small industry, a small employer, they also don't have the foreman or supervisor or monitoring officer who can monitor, who can serve, who can, yes, who can keep who can keep his eyes about safety. So I like to conclude in this question that yes, if we are eager to ensure safety, then it is easy. But we don't know the process. Everybody should have clear idea about the work process that will reduce the accident, because work process is not actually the standard one, especially for the small entrepreneurs, small employers. Thank you at this moment.
Thank you, Sikandar. I think it's a delicate balance from a business standpoint. You want ease of business. You want all your permits and licenses to be kind of executed or taken from one authority or fewer authorities. But with this construction right now, I know it's a bit of a challenge because you have a lot of different bodies who are trying to enforce, but there's no one center point who is kind of able to coordinate the requirements on behalf of all the different agencies. I think that's a very interesting point you bring about the code enforcement agency. I think Jamil from Shanta, I think I want to kind of give it to you, your experiences from the private real estate space. What are you seeing practically on the ground? You're very close. I was actually quite impressed because in your title, I noticed you have health, safety, environment, social. I've not seen social in this in HSC. Can you tell us a bit about that, as well as government compliance and how Shanta is accommodating, managing please.
Thanks, Mr. Shayan, for giving me the opportunity to speak of my experience. Though my previous speaker has explained EHS in a very effective way, but I want to add in that safety comes with cost. This is a big issue that many of the company or many of the organization don't want to, adopt EHS as a in mainstream business. And relating with your question, like how has the government facilitated compliance? Government has such beautiful, such effective legislation like Bangladesh National Building Code, Bangladesh Labor Law, and Factories Establishment Act 1965. So they have all the legislation within their hand, but the thing is whether it is implementing at the site, at the project, it is not being properly monitored. So this is my experience. And I don't know how many of you can remember back in 2010 or 2000, back in 2010, 12, that we often see that pedestrian have died due to falling object from a construction building. So things are changing. Things are changing. But the thing I want to mention, that who will monitor that the company is in line with the legislation laid down in Bangladesh National Building Code or Bangladesh Labor Law. We all have to remember that our goal is same, no matter whether it is a PWD, no matter whether it is DOE, Department of Environment, but our goal is same, to establish business human rights. So here I have seen the inter-collaboration is very less within the departments, kind of when implementing the rules and regulation. In Shanta's perspective, we have a dedicated EHS team who, along with me, who are continuously, moving around the side to side, and we are conducting different kind of training, like toolbox meeting, safety induction training, specific technical training for skilled workers. Even sometimes we are sending them to German technical or Japan technical in order to be a skilled worker. So our team is doing this. I just want to make sure, I just want to clarify the issue social, why we are using social. We have a dedicated welfare committee, welfare department to support our project workers, especially even during this coming Ramadan. We have a plan to distribute iftar throughout the Ramadan for the project workers. Even sometimes sometimes for the workers and for their family, we are extending our support, like education stipend for their children and medical support for the workers and the first dependent, like wife and children. So our social I would say it is corporate social responsibility for Shanta to support their workers through our welfare department. And the reason we are using social terminology alongside with us. So that's all from my end.
Thank you, Jamil. I want to ask Diwan, who has been very experienced working with PWD for more than 3 decades. From the government's perspective, can you share some thoughts on, there were a few points brought about the lack of manpower, the lack of resources. Sometimes there are too many regulations and maybe they're not being enforced. I know you had your hand up and you wanted to say something.
Yes.
Please.
Yes, thank you. I just want to add with Sikandar and Jamil. They are saying that there are so many agencies, but no one is actually. But in present BNBC 2021, in the law, it is now a law, and there is a provision for Building Regulatory Commission. government is supposed to make one building regulatory commission who will head all these agencies. And this commission will be empowered to look after all the construction activities, and they will caution the other departments if anything regarding safety or any other thing regarding building construction is lagging. That's what I wanted to add. Thank you. So if building regulatory committee is formed, then maybe we will have some more to ensure safety measures. Thank you.
Thank you, Diwan. Shaheen, I wanted to kind of ask you, because I know ND is doing a lot of work in different geographies. And one point that Jamil from Shanta had brought up is cost. Ultimately, the more HSC you're trying to enforce or implement, it will mean there's a rise in costing. Who is willing to pay for this cost? Is there a budget allocated towards this cost? Yes.
I would like to share one thing in addition. Most of the contractors and owners are not interested to make safety design along with detailed drawing of a project. I think it should be imposed by the authority, especially Raju or any government authority can bound to the owner to maintain safety design along detailed drawing, and it should be monitored regularly so that we can reduce the accidental hazard in construction site.
Thanks. I think that's an interesting point, because a lot of the times we have a construction plan, we have a bar chart to kind of sequence the different components of construction, which comes first, but there's rarely a plan of designing the safety that goes along with it. So I think that's an interesting point you bring about. Sikandar, I know, can we elaborate a little bit more about the monitoring and compliance?
Yeah.
And I just want to kind of hear more from you on,
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you, Sharon.
Across the different geographies, what you were seeing as well.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you, Sharon. I was, I was thinking about to share something about safety monitoring system. That's I have pointed some some issues. For example, the first thing that there is a attitude of the owner to transfer his responsibility to someone else. For example, contractor try to transfer his responsibility to a subcontractor. It's responsibility transferring attitude. This is one of the very big issue. Then if you consider about the lack of coordination that Jamil already have mentioned, Jamil have mentioned one sort of coordination, but there is other sort of coordination. For example, the BNBC stated the responsibility of owner, engineer, architecture, the developer. It is clearly stated in that BNBC, but landowner, among them, owner, architecture, the developer and the contractor, they don't have very good coordination among them themselves. There is hiring system. This is another big issue, that hiring system. That for example, I want to build a house. I am not a developer, I am individual owner. So I am hiring some worker, who is known to me or known to someone else, who actually have no clear training or skill. It's a lack of, there is a skilled worker I know that who have come from the Gulf countries or somewhere else who have brought some experience with them, but they are not working in that area. It's very, they are maximum they are working in a big project, but not a small project. Even the big project, when you are talking about big project, there is a huge gap. That big project try to avoid to keep the record, every record. That's what Jamil already have mentioned. That's HSE, they have very little know-how about HSE. And think about is Dhaka, and the scenario from Dhaka to another, it is different, because that's there. In Dhaka there are some monitoring system, but think about the Upazila city or district city where there is no office actually. No law enforcing agency have office in that area. For example, in this Chapainababganj, any Upazila of Chapainababganj, everywhere, the first thing is that everywhere construction is going on. Every Upazila there are some construction work, but there is no authority to look after that what is going on. That's I have already shared this faulty work process. Work process is very important. How the work will be done. This is and another another big challenge that you will find you will not find a practicable safety plan in the even in the big site. They don't have a practicable safety plan, because you should have very good applicable, practicable, reasonable safety plan, so that you can follow that. And there's lack of training. Lack of training is very important, because every worker, how they are they are being involved in the site is some relatives is bringing them with any experience. That in Bangladesh you will not find that a plumber is showing his certificate that yes, I am certified plumber to work in a construction site. I am certified electrician to work. You'll not find that sort of identity or certification with them. So there are lots of things that we need to consider if we want to minimize the accident rate or near missing rate, because accident is being published in the report, but near miss or which is not a big accident that actually have some permanent disability, but that is not reported in the newspaper or any other media. So the thing is, it is changing, but change is happening higher in the big project, in the mega project. But think about
thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sikander. I know, Jamil, you've had your hand up for quite a while. You wanted to say something on this point.
Sure, please.
Basically, I want to share some issues related to bank. As we all know, any construction project or building a commercial or residential project, it depends on lending that they get from banks or financial institutions. So if we look at Bangladesh Bank, they had a clear guideline, Bangladesh Environmental and Social Risk Management, ESRM, for bank sectors and financial institutions. But I'm quite sure many of the bank or financial institution doesn't really follow the guideline while they disburse the loan. So this is another reason that that many of the company, the private company or government, I won't say government, private company don't follow the guideline which has been laid out in Bangladesh Bank ESRM guideline. So this can be considered as well while we talk about the drawbacks of EHS.
Thank you, Jamil. I know we are running near the end of our session. I just want to kind of do a quick round and kind of ask everybody how do we move forward? What are the innovative measures we can use to promote safety and rights in the construction site? Maybe Shaheen, you can start, and then we'll go one by one, please.
Thank you, Shan. Actually, including mega project as well as a private-owned project owner, all should have maintained a car. Car means contractor all risk insurance policy, so that a worker who fallen in accident and victimized, his family is suffering a lot for his absence. Maximum case we found the worker was the main earning person for his family. For corporate social responsibility, on behalf of the government should impose the uh, insurance policy for getting the plan approval, so that if any worker fallen in accident, he can get benefit for the accidental case. It's my recommendation. It can be adopted in our policy.
Thank you. Yamin? I think you're on mute. Sorry.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes,
Okay.
please.
In Dhaka, I see there are many agencies right now, and more or less safety measures are being taken. Outside of Dhaka, the problem is much more. My suggestion is that we have got a very strong local government institution all over our country, from union level to Upazila level to district level. These persons should be adequately trained that how a construction site should have safety measures so that the workers don't get hurt or the materials are kept in order. This can be done, but there is a risk of over exercising the powers. When we give power to a local government elected member just to look after the safety measure, then maybe he will look after many other things that will hinder the construction work. We should be careful about everything, but we can think about this because this is the institution which is already existing in our country, the local government institution. They should be strengthened. They should be given authority, but with cautious warning that they will look after only the safety measures of the sites for the workers, or for common year. I think laborers should have enough insurance coverage. They should be provided with our environment friendly safety gears. They should have medical coverage. For pedestrian safety also, we should look after. And nowadays we are making 3, 4, 6 basements also. This is one thing that we found almost, we hear about land collapse in basement construction. You know, in probably 2015 or yes, when a site near Sonarga Hotel,
Yeah.
it collapsed the foundation and it endangers the entire road. So we should be very careful about these safeties also, not only workers, the safety of the work site as a whole. And as I think Sikandar was saying that the pedestrian hurting, this has minimized now because big contractors are making covers over footpath and road there so that the material does not fall directly to the pedestrians. I think this is all I can say. Thank you.
Thank you. Maybe Jamil, you'd like to add something, and then we'll go to Sikandar, and then I'll just make some concluding remarks based on all the different viewpoints that we've heard today.
Yeah, sure. Basically, things can be improved as mentioned by previous speaker, that introducing insurance for workers. Basically, it will enforce the company to ensure proper safety, proper safe procedure of work for the laborers. So this is first thing. Second thing is improving the monitoring system from both end, like private, the company end, and from the government end, time to time. It can be quarterly basis, and it can be monthly basis, so that if there are any lapses, that can be corrected accordingly with due time and with due importance. And the third thing is different promotional activities, such as what we do in Shanta, giving safety award in every month, in a rotation basis in all site. So this can be implemented in all construction project, to award or to reward workers for best compliance practice. That will, I think, that will promote safety, and that will enhance the practice in construction site.
Thanks. Sikandar?
Yeah, thank you very much. It's interesting that rewarding system sometimes works. This my view is a little bit different. That I am talking about the consumer awareness. This consumer should be aware about that. Yes, if when the consumer will purchase any floor or any any flat, that time the consumer should ask the owner whether there is any accident happen in this site, or whether he should check the records. And that's why every company should keep every record, which will help to keep them up, and to monitor, or to monitor them by themselves. So they should have good record keeping system. And finally, I'll say that there is a two big organization, Rehab and BASI. That's Rehab and BASI can play a big role, because they have Rehab have more than 3,500 members. Yes, is oh no, is about 3,500 members. Is it like that, or 400 members like that? Rehab
Yeah,
has,
I think so. Yeah, 3,000 plus. Yeah.
yes. So there should Rehab can take an initiative that yes, every member should report every year whether they have any accident or not. They can held up their membership for sometimes to ensure proper safety issues. And yes, and another one is BASI. BASI also can this sort of measures. That's yes, for membership they should they should share their report whether they are taking proper measures for ensuring safety. And at the same time, I will say that's the government procurement system or procurement policy should be improved, that there should have some conditions, terms and conditions to to get the work, and that conditions should include health and safety measures. That's all from my end, and thank you all. Thank you everybody who are here now, Yamin, Jamil, and Shahin, and yes, Shayan. Thank you very much to hold this session, to to facilitate this session. Thank you everybody.
Thanks, Sikandar. So if I had to wrap up, I would say, first of all, I would like to thank all the different participants on this panel for taking time out on a Friday morning to do this. I think it has been very insightful so far for our global audience, because the perception of how construction is evolving and taking place in Bangladesh, I think the audience has been able to get some better sense. And there were some pictures that were being shared on rotation from Shanta as well as ABC's airport project. So concluding, I think I'll just share an example from my own personal experience recently that I think is applicable to one of the comments that were being made today. One is that there should always be a safety plan, similar to how there is a construction management plan that is being made for the internal stakeholder as well as an external stakeholder for approvals. Similarly, the same emphasis should be placed on a safety design plan as to how safety is being incorporated at each stage of the construction process. In terms of training and skill development, it was very good to see almost everybody at least taking an initiative to have worker induction, worker training. It was seen in some of the pictures before. Again, it's being done for the mega projects and some of the high priority projects, maybe less so for smaller construction sites in different parts of the country. But again, as I mentioned, as these workers are being trained, as they wrap up their existing projects and then go back to their villages, I'm sure they'll be taking some of this knowledge back with them. The concept of insurance that was brought up, I think that's an interesting one. Although it is a bit expensive as to who is going to bear the cost, but I think it's something that can be discussed. In terms of a central coordination agency, I think that the Bangladeshi Regulatory Commission, I think it is there on principle, on paper, but nothing has come forward yet. If there is one agency that kind of aggregates all the different department requirements, that will definitely be helpful for both the business, for enforcement as well. And I know Mr. Mizan from ABC, he had to drop off, but he had a few points as well. I know he had a few points as well that I'm just trying to look at right now. It's some very simple things like even having fabrication yards identified and separated on the site or in the compound. And again, this goes hand in hand with the construction and safety plan. I think that was it from all of our end. Again, I would like to thank all of those who are participating, who participated from the panel, and all of those who have attended this session. I believe there is going to be this has been recorded, this live stream has been recorded, so it will be available on the UN BHR site. And for any of you who would like to access it or view it, just send a message or an email and we will help you out. Again, thank you everyone for participating and attending this session. And thanks to the UN BHR team for coordinating this as well.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Yeah. See you.
See you next.